So, John, last time we spoke about setting a table for two in your intimate relationships. What would you suggest to this younger generation who would be opting out of marriage altogether?
Yeah, Tina, I think one of the obvious questions that has to be asked is why is that happening? And there could be a lot of answers to that, but surely one of the answers is that a young generation just hasn't had great models of what marriage looks like. And so when that happens, I kind of follow the lead of Dr. Neil Clark Warren, who, interestingly enough, is the founder of eHarmony, but he was a family counselor and psychologist for 35 years in California. And his conclusion was that the couples he was working with, young people, they just weren't marrying well. They didn't know how to marry well. And so I really like helping young people work differently at getting married. And the way that I do that is I talk about the 4 C's of marriage. So for most people, the most dominant C is chemistry. So 2 people meet, and if they have chemistry together, then that's all they need to get married. And chemistry is really important. It's not unimportant at all, but I'd like to move it to the 4th slot. And we'll talk about that in a second. So there are 3 other C's that I think precede that have a lot to do with thinking about who I should marry. So they really involve your brain, and that's hard to do when you're in a relationship. I get all that. But the first C is, do we share a common life purpose? So for so many people, the goal in getting married is to get the guy or to get the girl. But if you think about it, once you get the guy or the girl, you've reached your goal. So what do you have to live for? Not very much, especially when we all know, those of us who've been married, that, eventually some of that wears off the longer you're married. So having a common life purpose is, what do we share that is guiding our marriage, that we're working at and shooting for together. And that's what a common life purpose is all about. And it assumes that both of the partners know their own personal purpose in life, and then they're able to meld those together and see what does that give us in common that is just beyond just getting married. The second C is really significant, and Dr. Warren spends a lot of time on this. It's compatibility. So we know that opposites tend to attract, but then they tend to fight a lot as well. And so compatibility has to do with how you were raised, what you believe about certain key issues that people will commonly get divorced over: children, faith, politics, extended family, finances, things like that. These are the common things that people fight about. And so before you ever get married, you want to know, are we compatible in these areas? Then there's also questions of personality and intellect and things like this. And so I recommend his little book called Falling in Love for All the Right Reasons as a guide for people to have conversations about 29 areas before you ever get married. What do we believe about that? Are we compatible? That's the second C. The third C is, if you have a common life purpose and you appear to be pretty compatible with each other, then do other people confirm? People who know you well, love you, do they confirm that you guys are a good match? And then if you have common life purpose, compatibility, and the confirmation of others, then you ask the question, do we share chemistry? Because even if I had all these 3 and I don't share chemistry, we should just be friends. But if we share chemistry and we have all the other 3, then we have the basis for a truly loving table for 2 that's going to be unique and going to stay together for your whole life.
Thank you, John. Thank you for some suggestions on a lasting table for 2.
Yeah, good. Thanks.
Thanks.